Right, go on then. Welcome to Bragging Rights, episode 11 of season 3. I got told off for not saying that last week.
Amongst many things.
What?
Amongst many things.
No. Sponsored by Comscarf, hosted at Tribal, as usual. And yeah, please remember to like, subscribe, and hype the video on YouTube if you can. Had a good weekend?
Chilled.
Yeah?
Yeah, I haven't done anything.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Had a good weekend, yeah, smashing.
you have.
Done quite a lot, it's been grand.
What you done?
Not bad. The middle part, the beginning and the end part, which is now, is going to be crap, but...
If you take the sport away from your weekend...
Cracking weekend.
To be fair, apart from Rovers, I feel like that because all my other teams, well, apart from Dons, because I don't know how they did today, there was winning 1-0, but all my other teams lost, apart from Souths as well.
Oh.
So, well, apart from that, yeah, good.
Just realised it has been a proper shit weekend for you, hasn't it?
Sport-wise, yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
Well, we got obviously West Ham lost, obviously Hull lost, and then you're quite into the bobsleigh now. Is it bobsleigh you're into?
No, downhill skiing.
Downhill skiing,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
lost, didn't they? Yeah.
Awful
And
weekend.
then you didn't complete a 5k earlier, so that's a struggle for you.
No,
So.
I did.
Right, all right.
Yeah,
What time?
Did it about 2 o'clock, didn't you? How are you, James?
I'm alright, mate, yeah, not bad. Just forgetting about Friday and then everything since then's good.
Well, you're going straight to City after this.
I'm going to watch...
Speak of the Devils.
Speak of the devil,
The
when
Tigers.
that Tigers badge flashed up on the
Oh,
screen.
was it? Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
You're going to that game tonight, so I mean, people at home can't see this, but there's a big TV behind Jimmy's head that's showing
Might be
us.
able to see that.
Oh,
one,
it's
though.
over there as well.
So you might be able to turn things around if you've had a bad sporting weekend.
Yeah, hopefully.
Dons let
The
me
world.
down. Finished 1-1.
The world.
I mean, the Celtics beat the Raptors last night as well, so that was shit. But
Celtic
Basketball
beat
shit,
the
anyway.
Raptors in the Scottish League as well.
Celtics, Boston Celtics.
Oh, the Celtics.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. The worst team. Anyway, we've put it off. Should we talk about the derby on
We'll
Friday?
put it off. Shall we?
Shall we do it?
Shall we not?
I fancy it.
I fancy it. He's going to have my pants down.
He's going to fucking kill me.
He ain't seen it yet. We're not about Liam Rush's video decision.
Oh, let's not get onto that.
We'll have to get onto that at some point.
We
too.
will.
We will.
Obviously, one of the biggest talking points of the weekend, I think, of the derby. But yeah,
Yeah.
much improved from you boys, from what you were fearing, from what you were talking about and saying, and everyone I've spoken to was like, Rovers are going to run away with it. What, you don't think it was an improvement?
I think if you look at the game and not the scoreline, and I think most Rovers fans that are sensible would agree that I think it flattered you a little bit.
I had this discussion with Ellie, sorry to interrupt you there, my sister. At 18-4, she said the scoreline flatters us. I thought 18-4, if you take out that
Bad decision.
very bad decision, then
I thought that would have been a
18
fair score. 18-10.
Dean said the same. 18-4, 18-10 would have felt about right. I felt
Yeah.
we was in control for most of that game, and
I felt like you
you
thoroughly...
had periods.
Yeah, you thoroughly deserved the 2 points, but I feel like that last try maybe just
took
ticked
it away.
Yeah.
I did text Ellie back
I mean,
and say, now it flatters
You
us.
could see with the way that Budgie reacted when he put it down that it was like that there's just that cheeky look on his face to the Hull fans as if to say,
I don't need to rub it
yeah,
in. Sort of.
what more can I say? Like,
My wife said...
Easiest try I've ever scored.
Why are you smiling? Because when Budgie scored that last try, I was like, yeah, laugh or cry, you know? Which one are you going to do?
I'll save
I
my
just
crying
sat
for
there
when I'm in
smiling,
private.
yeah.
So I kind of disagree with the three of you. And I've seen online a couple of people
Tell you for why.
reports as well. I don't like the term it flattered us. I think it was about right. I think Mikey missed free kicks in very tough wind that has to be mentioned. And I think if we'd have got them, I think it absolutely would have flattered us and it would have looked like far and away sort of the too much of a big score. But in the end, I think people are putting too much emphasis on the Martin no try. And if that had been given, and then you scored no more points after that, everyone would turn around and go, whether you got the kick or not, and go, that's a fair try, that's a fair scoreline, sorry. I think that the reality is, now the team used the wind very well, and it was howling, it was really tough. And in the first half, when it was with Hull, they just didn't utilise it well, and they should have done. They did really well to go into the into the sheds at half time with the score as close as it was. But the harsh reality is that I don't think you ever looked like scoring. That's not to say you didn't have an improved way of playing, like you said, Craig, and you was in the game for patches of it. But the reality is, I thought Caesar had a poor game for about 60 minutes. There was patches where he turned up. The last 10 minutes of the first half, when you did get a try, was when Caesar actually turned up. I thought moving Hardacre, bless him, moves all the time to 6. He had one of his worst performances for you. Usually such a talisman. It's not to say he was terrible. He just didn't offer a lot. 6. And it just didn't work on the day. And actually, really, the scoreline to me was about right and about fair. And I think that people are putting too much emphasis on the Martin no try, and if he'd have got that and Asiata didn't get injured and then we was right back in it, I don't think you ever was in it. And people won't like me saying that, but the reality is we were the better team for 60 to 65 minutes of the game, and I don't think you had a chance in it anyways.
Whether he'd have scored or not, Asiata would have still gone off because
for
he
me,
was done.
That's 60 seconds where that happened. We come out the sheds second half and we had a bit about us.
You did use the wind on that occasion.
We did use the wind, but that's 60 seconds where Asiata goes down, the Martin no try. After that, we was done. I think we never recovered from that, I don't think. But saying that, and I've said it all weekend, yes, we was robbed of that try. I fully believe we was robbed of that try. But I don't think we'd have gone on to win that game anyway. I don't think we'd have made it close, and I think the quality would have told in the last 20 minutes, like it did. My problem with it is, and I agree with that, and that's probably what I'm trying to say, is I don't want to sound like I'm just disrespecting Hull for the sake of it. You know, it was the 250th derby. We've now decided that we play for the Clive Sullivan Trophy in that one game, so we retain that, we take that home. It's 7 derby wins in a row across all competitions against you guys for us now. So it is shit for you guys. But at the same time, to talk about one try that wasn't given rightly or wrongly, and to talk about an Asiata injury, which is really unfortunate for the guy, pains me because I hate Derek Beaumont being correct. You know, when he pre-warned you not to sign him to a long-term deal, I hate Beaumont being correct to anything. And we just feel, obviously, for Asiata, we just want him a speedy recovery. The best thing for him is that he bounces back next week and it's not as bad as feared. So let's not take that away from him, but it doesn't look good. But the reality is, we ran rampant on your left-hand side. And you made the same mistakes that you made against Catalan in the second half, in which Romano and Briscoe got out of position. And we scored 3 tries down there. That wouldn't have been changed by you scoring another try or Asiata not going off. You're still weak on that side. Briscoe's still losing his pace week by week, and you're still not defending it properly. And that's why I said quality would have told, like it did in the last 20, where you got them last couple of tries, which took the game away from us.
Yeah, I think the Martin no try, as much as it is very frustrating, makes no difference. Just makes no difference. If he scores, if he gets given, then we end up with 10 points. If it don't get given, we don't.
Yeah, if he could keep hold of the ball, but he didn't.
To play devil's advocate there, though, you're saying that you wouldn't have scored any more points. Yes, you didn't on the day, but if you had have scored that try, if it was given, all that momentum's with you. That first 10, 15 minutes.
Completely lost the momentum when Asiata went off.
But you don't know if that would have...
We'll never truly know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
That's
just
what I'm trying to
basing
say.
it on
People
what
are saying-
I felt at the
people are
time.
saying-
Based on what I've
it'd have
seen
been done.
with us over the last year and a half, we can't attack without Asiata at 13.
So that's the right answer. It's not about the Martin no try, which, all right, very close is what it is. It's about your inability to keep as a unit and to keep any structure when Asiata's not on the field. And other players that are meant to be stepping in or can step in are doing it, but not enough. And on Friday, unfortunately, those that have stepped up didn't really. And look, we need to talk about the fact that I think it was a bruising encounter, and it definitely had that physicality. There was some big shots.
Certainly felt like a derby.
Yeah, I thought it did, and it was quite
pitch,
nice. It was quite nice for it to be back in that physical way of these are brothers going against each other, and these are close rivals hitting each other hard and trying to hit each other, bordering the line, going over the line in some occasions, because you guys know, and you listeners and watchers know, just how frustrated I was after the last derby at Craven Park, where I described your team as thuggish, and I stand by that. And I struggled to understand how you could feel proud of your team. Now we're
Proud
talking
in different areas. We spoke about
yeah,
that.
we're talking about a different game now, a different season. It had more of that level of where people toe the line and cross it a bit too much. And what's probably frustrating me about it is there's so much emphasis on some of these hits, like the Minchella one with the elbow to Lasoni's head and things like that. Yes, they're wrong. They happen every game, but you don't get a benefit from it. We got no benefit last year from Ashworth putting an elbow into Mikey's face.
I saw him earlier today.
Yeah, no benefit. Because he didn't get pulled up in the game and he took a ban. The ban was not served for your club, so you didn't get punished for it. And we didn't have to play against, we didn't get a chance to play against 12 men or whatever with you. And it's the same with this. Be mad, be frustrated, but don't forget what I think 90% of rugby fans love and enjoy is that massive physicality in a really tough, brutal sport where people toe the line and occasionally step over it. FC fans online winding me up and people in person winding me up, acting like FC are angels. You gave away 2 high shots in the first 5 minutes and you want to forget about them to talk about a mini high shot?
No one's saying, well, I'm not saying we're acting like angels. What's annoying is these shots are getting pulled up, but the same shot, but then that shot is not getting pulled up. It's that inconsistency that we're talking about. We're all getting frustrated about it. If them shots are getting done and the referee's just going, all right, it was borderline, so-and-so, but some week it's not, some week it is. So
I think
that's why the frustration is there.
The other frustration for me is, and there's Rovers fans ain't going to like me saying it, is how does Mini keep getting away with it? Because I know
agree.
that you've said it for a while about Burrow being a grub. Mini's as bad.
So
Mini is horrific.
I don't know if we spoke about this before, but I think people fundamentally misunderstand what Elliot Minchella is as a player. He's a fantastic leader for our club, but that is a grubby player. He borders on the edge of the line every single game he's ever played for us. And just like most rugby players and just like most games, he's heavily involved in incidents that get caught up in the game and get missed and don't get put through. Now, I'm not saying he's a dirty player. What I'm saying is he's very grubby, he borders it, he loves the niggle, and he is a player that has always benefited from a physical encounter. And in this new faster playing ruck speed game that we're playing this year, he probably will get caught up more. But he's always been like that. He's never changed.
I think he gets away with it because of the players around him, like the squad that he's in, and how successful you're all being just in general. It allows him, affords him that ability to get away with the odd little bit of niggling here and there and here and there. Whereas Burrow, for us, for example, we've spent majority of the season on the back foot. So then, if you then have a player being grubby on the back foot,
like
you're going to get caught.
FC posted a photo, I think it was at half-time, of a Rovers player being tackled by 3 Hull men. And in the photo, Burrow has got his arm wrapped around the Rovers player's neck and chin, right? And all the comments from the FC fans are, how does Mini get away with going high? So this is what you're dealing with, is that unconscious bias that you get as a fan, particularly in a derby where you feel as though your team is the one getting pinged for everything, and they're not. And the reality is the penalty count wasn't that indifferent. It wasn't that indifferent in high shots either way. You're focusing on the ones that went either way. And I want to talk about this aggression in Mikey Lewis. So on the day for us, Tyrone May played in his dinner suit, was phenomenal. Just ran the park for me as an half-back.
Most
Last
of his
12
time
months,
at
I
Rovers.
think.
He's carrying on fantastic form. I thought Jez stepped up again, the pair of them. I think Mikey had a really strange game, and I think it's because of what happened in Craven Park in the last derby. I think he channeled his energy the wrong way. He was pulled out of 3 different incidents by Dean Hadley that he got involved in. I think the frustration at how much he was targeted last time and how many high shots and dirty elbows he got, because they weren't just the Ashworth one. I complained about it last year. He had what's he called, Joe Young, who can't get a game, Kemp. He had Kemp doing it to him, putting elbows in his face on the ground in that game.
It was a clear ploy.
I think that he didn't have the maturity this game. And he came out with the wrong attitude of, he played some good rugby. I don't think he had a bad game, but he wasn't as good as May or Jez, who focused on just playing rugby. And he got involved in the niggle too much and got involved in the afters too much, as we saw massively with the incident after the Jez try. And I think that was to Mikey's fault really this time round.
You could tell he was letting things get to him, and he might not think it's getting to him, but when you're reacting to warm-ups, to the crowd during a warm-up, when the Hull fans are hurling abuse at him, and he's doing this and doing that, you're reacting to it. Whether it's a positive or negative reaction, you shouldn't be doing that. You're a top-class player. You've got to learn to just block it out, whether you like it or whether you think you're giving it back and it's good for you. It's not.
Like May. You'd scored a try, I think it might have been your first try, and May ends up setting for the kick-off right in front of our fans. And we're singing our usual, she said no, Tyrone, blah, blah, blah. And then it changed, and it was like, you're a C-word, Tyrone, you're a... And we changed it to that. And you could see him just going... And then he just give us a little clap behind his back. Like, that's how a player at that level should react on the field to abuse. Like, because if you do any other way, especially someone like Mikey, who's known for letting his head go, you let your head go a tiny little bit, and it's gone. You ain't putting the plug back in that drain. Do you know what I mean? Like, Tyrone did perfect in what he needed to do.
Same with Lytton. I mentioned it in the group in the warm-ups. Come out, obviously, the away team run over to the east stand. Well, both teams do, but on this occasion it was Hull who were running towards the east stand, getting the usual derby abuse as you get from the east stand. And Lytton's running along, he's clapping the ball, obviously carrying the ball. Yeah, Davey, sorry, not Jez. And he's smirking. I'm like, I love this. Because nobody was like giving him shit. It was just carrying on. But if it was like Connor or somebody or Mikey for your guys, we'd be like fucking launching
hail and abuse,
bottles at him probably.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All Jake Connor has to do is smile and people hate.
Yeah, whereas Lytton obviously was smiling, and then because he got more of the jip than any of the other FC backs, he then did his leg swings, like leg swing stretches, in between the 30 and the 40 whilst looking at the east stand and just smirking. But because he wasn't reacting, he was just smiling, nobody was like, "Arr," we was all just like...
I'll tell you something, sticking on Lytton, I thought he had a really good game.
I love the battle he had with Hicko on Friday. I thought it was a good battle.
I do think a big part of that is that we can't escape the non-stop conversation that David Lytton will come to Rovers. There is, obviously a lot of it can be rumour and a lot of it can just be, BS, but the reality is, it's like, he gets on with the fans in that way. He's obviously, we know his best mates with Mikey, we know his cousin plays for us. At the end of the game, them three were the first three should have a conversation together. I won't say where they was, but them three were in a different pub, not this one that they came to after the game, but later on Friday night, them three were in that pub in Westall together. And there is that kind of almost mutual respect with Davey Lytton, where it's almost like the Rovers fans don't dislike Davey.
Yeah, absolutely.
They can see potential. I still think he's a bit raw when he makes errors. I agree, I think he had a decent game on Friday. In a day where I don't really rate many of your players, I thought that what we spoke last week came into fruition. I thought we did roll your forward pack for most of the game. I thought that I'm still struggling with Sam Lasoni. I'm really struggling. I don't think he's giving you any impact.
He is for one run.
All right, sorry, he's not giving enough impact that I would like for what he's paid and what he does. And
I think Harvey Hill did well, I thought. Especially when he...
I'm struggling with the Hill one for me.
I thought he got sucked into the niggle too much.
He did, but didn't we all? Didn't they all? I thought Hill, from our pack, I thought he stood out. I thought Sal started off all right and then did his typical, oh, look, there's an opportunity to give away a penalty.
Well, it says a lot like...
Sal, there's an opportunity to hit a player with an elbow.
Yes.
But I'm not whining about going on
Sal,
about it.
not Mini.
Yeah, exactly.
You said it in the group. You did say about Sal in the group during the game.
I did say in the group because to me it's obvious because I'm looking for it because I fundamentally believe that Sal plays on the edge of that line and he has a history. He has a disciplinary record that shows that he has been pinged so many times for you to say that, not to call him a dirty player by nature, but to say that he doesn't cross over like Mini, right? And to me, I'm looking for that as a Rovers fan. And the moment I see an elbow that catches players on the head, Jai Whitbread's going off for a HIA from my point in the stand is that a knee, is it an elbow? I see Sal's the player involved in that instant, and my head goes, dirty elbow.
Yeah.
I do think you're a little bit wrong. I don't think Sal plays up to the line. I don't think Sal plays like to the point where it's like, oh, I'm going to get close to this line. I genuinely think in Sal's mindset, it's like, I'm going to go over the line on purpose and hope I get away with it.
Yeah,
like that's
so.
genuine. I think he's just one of them players where he goes into something thinking, I mean to do this. I know this is wrong, but hopefully none of the 12 cameras, the referee or the 2 touch judges will see anything.
I would say that's on mini players as well. And I think that if people don't realise that, they should probably watch him more because he's always been like that. I would like to... Sorry, Craig, go on.
I was just going to say on Lasoni, it's like, yeah, you said one run, but he put a couple of runs in and like put a couple of players on their asses. But it was Jez Lytton and Mikey Lewis who he knocked over. He wasn't knocking
Every
over
forward
like,
runs
bundled
every
Lewis
forward
early
runs at
second
a
half,
back,
didn't he?
so-
Yeah, that's
Like,
what I mean.
But
like,
what is
then
that?
everybody's bigging him up, going, "Oh, he's absolutely massive carries and this, that, and the other."
Yeah.
No, he's ran out of fucking half back, and I don't care.
It's not even that frustrates me with him. Do that. That's how to play rugby, right? Take every advantage you can. It's the fact that even running over Jez Litton
He's knackered.
knackers him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
He's just,
For me,
I'm
no,
not
sorry.
disappointed with him as a signing. I'm just very disappointed with the lack of fitness that he's managed to get
He's took a
in
paycheck.
pre-season.
He needs to turn it around and
Like,
improve something for me.
Yeah.
Because right now it looks like he's taking an easy paycheck.
especially when you look at, obviously not fit at the minute, he's out injured, but when SA is playing for us, look at him. He's not a little lad, but the fucker will run for 80 minutes. Like,
You're struggling for forwards, and when you've got one like that isn't, for me, offering enough.
When you compare him to our forwards, Jesse Sue did 25 minutes, then Whitbread came on for him. Whitbread then went off and Sue came back on after about 5 minutes. Tom O'Mahony did about 35 minutes in that first half before Sam Luckley even came on.
Don't worry, I think it helped. There was no coincidence for us that the game changed a little bit in our favour once Amir and Sal went off.
Yeah, you said that, didn't you?
Cuss came on, Lasoni came on. Yeah, it was short burst from Lasoni, but he did help turn that tide slightly for the back end of the first half. And
Certainly
it helped
not the
us.
back end of the second half. He was
No,
not
but it
interested
helped
at all,
us.
was he?
It helped us get a little bit of a foothold in that beginning of the second half, which obviously led before the
I
injury.
was quite
and the
surprised when
try.
he came back out and lined up.
He normally does, and then he'll go off and then come back on later on.
Because even at the end of the first half, he did look knackered. But then by the end of the second half, obviously he's had to go on injuries, moving around and things like that, which is fair enough. He's put his hand up to say, yes, I'll go on. But then as soon as he's got the ball, he's not even looking to run it. He's passed it. He's shaking tackles. I'd be very disappointed with him if I was
I was very unimpressed with
Yeah,
him.
very, very.
He's got a lot of work to do.
So,
Absolutely.
One person we haven't spoke about. So we've gone through some bits and bobs, and I think there's maybe a couple more. Maybe you want to touch on the no try if you want, and maybe talk about Aziata. But
There's no more we can say about that no try than what's not been said.
What I will talk about is someone we haven't mentioned from our side, and a real positive. We have to talk about Jack Broadbent's man of the match performance.
Something like
that. They'll laugh at him, and I'm a wife, well, I know the Langdales will, because I think I mentioned last year that they had a running bet that I didn't know about, that I talk about the wind at Craven Park all the time. It was absolutely brutal. And I said earlier on, we started talking about in this section, we know that neither team really utilised it properly. It was mental. It really was crazy, the wind. And we got what we did get wrong. I think me and you, Dean, spoke about this. We got wrong that I said that Moy was going to get hammered and he might have a tough day. He didn't. He had a great game.
I was going to bounce back with Moy after you've mentioned.
If he was outshined by anyone on the field, though, especially in a direct comparison, Broadbent, who went for 229 metres, didn't make an error, scored a try, gave an assist, and just looked completely unflappable. And even in them conditions, there was a couple catches that I don't think anyone was going to catch. Do you know, fingertip catches, diving for the ball when he's got 3 and 4 men coming on, to try and hit him. And he really, truly deserved that man of the match accolade. He probably was, across the board, our best player of the day, across some great performances. But one thing that I just love about him is, even in his post-match, he doesn't mind where he is at us in the club. He doesn't mind that he moves around. He doesn't mind that that's his role. And, we let Kalepi Tangano go because he couldn't deal with that. The players that can deal with that stayed with us and then helped us win the treble, like him, like Sam Luckley, who knows about the minutes they're going to get and not get. I just love the fact that the bought into that ethos, and Broadbent, he just makes me smile. I thought he had a phenomenal day.
Can't disagree with
Can't disagree,
that.
but like, for us, Logan Moy, the kid's been sat on the sidelines for so long.
Best part of a year.
Yeah, he gets his chance last week against Catalan, and Shans does really well, comes and slots in like he's not been out the squad for however long he has been, and then comes into a derby, which I think we briefly spoke about last week. I was unsure about throwing him in, and
I winced when I saw our team sheet and I saw Moy at 1. I was terrified about what you would do to him with that wind.
I said in the stand, I went, the thing that excites me most about this whole team, in sort of a negative sort of opposition way, was Moy being at fullback, because he's had a lot of time out. Yeah. He
looked uncertain and he looked like lacking in confidence last season, which is why I think he ended up getting dropped. So that was, I then lacked confidence with him coming back in, And even after he looked well last week against Catalan, I stand by it. He wasn't tested to the level that he was on Friday. So going into Friday, I was terrified.
Yeah, to be fair, and I'm eating my words because it was superb for you. I thought
he had a great. For me, it was probably your best player. I think he was your man of the match.
Yeah.
I think that really, he's probably the only player that didn't have an error or a mistake or didn't perform to the best. Across the rest of them, there was stuff I could probably pick out on every player on your team that I would be. Not disappointed is unfair because you can't expect an 8 performance from every player every week.
You never get the best performance in a derby, but there was too many individual errors from us across the board. One thing I don't know if you've noticed it from our point of view, and I haven't really spoke to you about this. So when Asiata went off, we have signed Bell to be his substitute. Yeah. Why didn't Bell go to 13 when he went off injured?
I don't know.
I'm surprised they both started.
I thought he'd have put
numbers.
I thought he'd have started Bailey and Batch, and he'd have put Bell on the bench to come on for Asiata. That's genuinely what I thought was going on. And especially when I saw that he'd started Batch, I thought it was a bit harsh on Bailey. And obviously, as I said last week, I thought we'd go better this week because when Asiata comes off, Bell assumed would come on. Just didn't.
Bell
didn't
don't want to be stuck. He's going to be
Yeah.
playing there now anyway at 13 for the foreseeable. He's a player that doesn't want to be stuck on one side of the field. He likes to be moving about, and I'm quite now. He's over his injury, touch wood, and he looks back up to fitness and speed.
You've jinxed him now.
I've touched wood. That's the best I can do. Hopefully, we'll slot into that 13 role quite well. We need him to.
It's on a bit of a wider point about Cartwright as a coach. I think me and Craig, I know you guys praise him. From a Rovers point of view, we've been very open with our praise of Cartwright in liking his energy, liking the way he speaks. I said to you at the start of the season, I think it was even before the first game had kicked off, that, or maybe in the first round or so, my only letdown with Cartwright so far has been throughout this pre-season coming into this year that I felt as though he's been telling a few pork pies about injuries. I feel as though he's been a little bit loose with the truth and he hasn't really been open. Now, that's not for me to be mad about, and that's for you guys to decide if you was happy about that or not happy, but it felt as though he was hiding from the truth sometimes. That was the first thing that let me down. The second one that I would be starting to get concerned about is, over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and it does happen, especially when you don't win games and things, there are decisions he makes that he's paid to make as the coach that makes me question what he's doing as a head coach, that being one of them that you've just mentioned there. Now, we don't know the ins and outs, we're not sat there, why is it going on, but that stood out to me as well in the game. When that happened, it was a strange choice.
What would you have done at that point? Because Batch was gone, he injured himself, so we were down to 3 on the bench.
I simply wouldn't buy players over 30 that are injured.
No, but you can't say that, because the question is, what would you have done in that moment, at that point in the game, with who you had on the bench? And it's more a question to him. Who would you have put where? Because
I would have put Cust at 6, Hardacre and Bailey in second row, and Bell at 13. That would have given us the best chance of being a bit more attacking, which we needed to be.
This is where you're let down by signing players like Lasoni. Because if that happens to us, right, we can pull on just about any of our forwards and say, guess what, you ain't going for another sit down today. And I'm not saying they won't miss tackles, I'm not saying they won't be knackered, but even some of our big boppers, your Sam Luckleys that are impact players, they would just put the graft in and do it, and we'd back them to do it. You're stuck then all of a sudden because you've got this impact player who's, for me, not even really making an impact, and you can't rely on him to do anything more versatile. And I think that's where I then, and I'm not saying it's Cartwright's fault, obviously, it's one game, it's not a big deal, but that's where you've got to start looking longer term and thinking, what are we going to do here? And I think, for me, I just start to question some of Cartwright's tactical decisions at the minute.
I think we all have a little bit, but we're in the middle of a rebuild. Like, there's going to be rights, there's going to be wrongs.
You two had the conversation with James Hogarth the other day, didn't you? And I wrote on my phone to both of you when you were on about how Smith built the house and now Willie's decorated the house and now you're all firing. That game for me, it's continuing to prove to me that Cartwright's only building our house. He's not the one that's going to take us to trophy. He might win a Challenge Cup, next year, for example. He might win something, but he won't be the one that takes us to the top if we get there.
When we had to, for the context, so when you mentioned that on Humberside, when it was mentioned, me and Dean answered, and we was whispering to each other, my long answer to that, as quick as I can, is that when I said to you, you need to hope that Cartwright is the one that's building the house and not decorating it, that's not slagging him off. What I mean by that is, Cartwright has enough there. I'm not saying you can't go on and win a Challenge Cup next year, right? You want to play 4 or 5 games, you've got a chance, and you've got players that can turn up, and if you can stay injury-free, you've got chances. And you've changed that culture as a club, where you are playing for one another, so you've got a chance. When I say you better hope he's only building the house, what I mean is, you don't want to be a flash in the pan, 1 win, 1 Challenge Cup.
No.
You want to do what we've tried to do, and hopefully are still doing, which is rebuild for a long-term success. And that's why I'm saying you better hope he's building it, and that attracts bigger and better coaches and bigger and better signings, so that you go on to have a chance at winning multiple trophies, being at the top for multiple weeks, multiple years, not just for 1 trophy.
Yeah, that's the plan. Agreed. But
My final thing on that is that obviously I think we're really good, we are really neutral, but it is always good to have the bragging rights. And I know we've had it the last 7, and I know it's been a bit shit for you guys recently.
Boring now, innit?
But I will
Is
say...
it?
No, it's not, and I will say this. I had a conversation with quite a few Hull fans over the weekend and on Good Friday itself about... They actually feel as though over the entire Super League era that the derbies have been quite evenly split, and that even when you was one of the better sides in the league, it felt as though we still could pip you at a derby. Because it did happen, because it's derby day and anything can happen. But I felt honestly that for the vast majority of our time in the Super League, I don't think it's unfair to say that you've been the better team for the bigger percentage. Whether you've been the better team for 70% and we've been better for 30% of it. There's obviously been years where we've done better, but I would say, in my opinion, you've been a better club over that period.
Slightly.
It's still so nice for us now to be on this run of multiple years where we are definitely the bigger club right now and definitely the better performing team. So these are not getting old, and it is still a great feeling to be winning that on Derby Day. So at the minute, it's still all smiles from me.
Got a smile or a cry.
So I hope that gets you.
oh well. Are we done?
Looks like
We're
it.
done.
What are we doing about this food?
Get it.
Bragging Rights is proudly sponsored by Comscaff. Hull's own Comscaff have been keeping things safe and steady for over 30 years, providing professional scaffolding services nationwide. If you need a team you can trust for your next project, big or small, head to comscaff.co.uk or give them a call on 01482 782 181.
Got a bit of kick that.
All right, that, innit?
What is it, the sauce? Buffalo
Yeah.
sauce?
I don't know.
I will say,
I'm not supposed to
We
have
asked-
spicy food.
Yeah.
we asked for food,
We
and
did.
now the poor listeners and viewers have to hear us chomping and chewing. So
Well,
I'm
it's
going
only
to take my
cold.
mic down. There we go.
luckily for you, for it's the news section. So while I waffle on for 5 minutes,
Turn Man and Dean's down so we can...
right, it is news from around the world right now, and I've only got 2 points to talk about today. Obviously, quite a short turnaround with being Easter and some of the news still filtering through. I'm sure there'll be more stories as always, but these were 2 I've picked out to discuss today. So, the first one, we keep moving forward towards this NRL and Super League deal, and the news that's come out, I think today, hopefully people might have seen this, but if not, I'll talk through it briefly. The NRL CEO, Andrew Abdo, is heading over here this week, so I believe he should be here by the end of this week, and he's coming over to talk about the Super League and NRL deal, looking at finalising something. I still don't think we're going to get an announcement today. No. You know, we're not going to, this week even, maybe not even this month, but it's definitely on the rise and it's coming through. One of the things that he's looking to do, and what we've heard today, is there might be some work to discuss around the salary cap. So the salary cap, for everyone's aware, 2.1 million that each club get. It looks like what we're talking about doing, and if this comes off, it could be massive. The NRL are going to absorb and pay that, releasing the funds from the Super League clubs and the owners from having to pay the salaries of the players. Now, this will come heavily, I believe, with the NRL taking a controlling stake in the Super League. We're not going to get this for free,
Surely, yeah, you'd assume so.
and it's obviously a lot of money. But if this does happen, this could be the really sort of big catalyst that pushes this deal through. If we can agree to this, we just need our owners to understand that this will take us away from a controlling stake and our owners having a big say in the game, which I know we've said in the past might not be a bad thing. But we will wait, I would say, with bated breath to see what happens. But yeah, Andrew is flying over this week, so
I'm really excited about this, just to see what is actually going to happen. Yeah, it's really exciting.
I
We
mean,
should have just left it blank for Josh to carry on while he was eating. But
Sorry.
no.
I'm
Go on,
listening
Jimmy,
to what you're saying about giving up a controlling stake, and I think over the 20 odd years that I've been watching FC, and as I've got older, I'm realising how poorly run not just some of the teams have been when you look at teams like Salford most recently, but just the league and the sport in this country in general. Give it to them. Let them do what they do best, because they've proven down under for however many years they know what they're doing. And whoever's been running the game in this country ain't got a effing clue how to make it big.
It proves it when we've just revoted that pudding back in. Done it, Dean?
right, let's.
Do you know what? Right, we've been here for two seasons. Right, this is our second season at Tribal, innit?
Yeah.
First time we've had food on the pod, and new menu. I think it's smashing. I know we're on the news, but
No, I mean, we're
That
going
is breaking news.
breaking news. We finally got food, but we will talk about Tribal later. We say, but yeah, we will say this food is absolutely banging. Please let us know in the comments if you hate watching us eat. Final,
Sorry, not sorry.
And we'll do absolutely nothing about
Yeah,
it.
we'll just keep eating. Second bit of news, our last bit of news, I just felt like it was really worth mentioning. I enjoyed Rivals Round. I enjoyed it being the rivalries. You know, you get some absolutely huge rivalries in there. Some not so huge ones in Huddersfield and York. But what we do have to talk about is that it was a bumper weekend for crowds. Obviously, it's helped to it being, you know, bank holidays. But that doesn't necessarily mean that people aren't travelling out on holiday. You've got school holidays for the kids as well. And to still get some great crowds is fantastic. I've noted most of them here. And by most of them, I mean I've excluded the Huddersfield one because it was like 4,000 people. But there was 3 sellouts. So KR and FC was a sellout. Obviously, we don't report our numbers, but it's 12.5k. The Saints and Wigan was a sellout, just less than 18k, 17,918, it's good numbers there. Wow. Cass and Wakey was a sellout at 9,455. They can cram just, you know, 9.5k into their stadium, which was great. Notable as well, the other 3 games apart from the Huddersfield game, all went above 10k as well. So first of all, Catalan and Toulouse, 10,259 people in there. I think that's great, you know, first time they've had a derby in the Super League. Quite a good game in the end.
You know what, probably the best game.
they've had a derby in the
No,
Super
a
League.
couple of years ago, Toulouse was...
Yeah, there was in there in 2018.
Toulouse had that one season, yeah.
Of course they did, yeah.
Probably the best game of the weekend, I'd say, for a neutral.
Yeah, I enjoyed our game.
Does anyone want
For
to
a
go?
neutral.
I don't know.
Spicy. Love spicy.
The only reason I disagree with your statement, Dean, is I actually think a lot of people might have enjoyed the Saints Wigan one when Hull KR and Saints legend Bill Leyland. But we'll talk about him in the preview, actually. We'll come back to Bill Leyland. But yeah, that was great over in France for that one. Wyron Lee, despite it being very one-sided in the end, ended up bringing 11,026. So not a sellout, but over 11k is great. And then I think this one's the most notable one for me. Bradford and Leeds, 14,491 people in attendance. Now, I know that ground can hold 90,000 people or whatever, because it's got the record on its story. Or it did have the record for the biggest ever attendance in Rugby League at one time.
I don't agree with even back in the day when they said there was 21,000 or whatever in there, and it looked like there was about 30,000 in there. So I don't agree with the capacity of that place. There looks more than 14,000 in there on Friday night.
But it's a great sign for... I know people had the misgivings about Bradford coming up, and one thing that isn't on the news section, but I'll briefly mention, is Huddersfield are really confident going forward that they're going to be picking up grading points for IMG, that they're going to improve on last year. And I know there's a lot of rumours flying around saying, oh, they'll be out the league next year. No, they won't, right? But when this first came around about Bradford coming up, there was a bit of negativity and how have they got in and is it just a favoured club and so on. It is good to have a team back like that that's been around and was at the top a long time ago. And they're doing all right on the field. They seem to be doing all right off the field. And, you know, it's a great part of history of our game. So I was quite impressed to see a decent crowd there and to see that game go ahead.
It was good to see that rivalry back. I just wish they'd brighten the floodlights up a little bit.
Oh, no, so, do you know what that was? So the floodlights were operating as normal. But because of the angle at which the camera sits and the angle at which their LED advertising hoardings are, the cameras are pointing directly at the LEDs. which are meaning that the LEDs are showing too bright on screen. So they had to dim the LEDs and they had to dim the contrast on the camera so that you could see the advertising correctly.
So at the game, it's not...
So at the game,
right, okay.
apparently, I mean, if there's anyone that was there that's watching can verify, but...
Ellie and Beth were, so they'll be able to see.
Yeah, there we go. But I did see an overhead picture from like a drone or whatever, and it looked normal.
Well lit.
Right.
So,
Makes sense.
but I called it out in here when we were watching it. I was like, something wrong with floodlights there.
Yeah, it didn't look great, did it, from the TV?
But that's not going to be the last time you see that.
Made me laugh though on the, sorry just to interrupt you there, did you see the promo preview for the Rivals round? I think it was actually Ellie who mentioned this. All the footage they were showing of the whole Rovers Saints Wigan were like recent, and then all the footage from
20
it
years
just
ago.
looked so out of place because it was from like 10 plus years ago. It's like
2014 was the last one.
so 10 plus years ago, yeah.
It was good to see that game back, I will say. It's not a big a derby as us or...
Wasn't the best game though, was it?
It's good to
very
see that
poor.
rivalry back.
So that was it from news from around the world. Just a couple of points to finish though, I will say. The first one being, we know some of the match review panel disciplinary that's gone forward, but we don't know outcomes, so we can't discuss that. You know, it is Bank Holiday Monday as we're recording, so find out later, tomorrow, etc. And then finally, I will say, I know I've been munching on some of these fries, and I'm trying not to while I'm talking, but if you want an indication that the food's good, I've had a full Sunday dinner before I came out. My wife cooked an absolutely banging
Craig's eyeing that up
beef
as well.
dinner, and I'm
I
still
don't know if
munching
it's
away.
spicy.
So there is your recommendation. The food is good, and that is it from news today.
I'll eat this.
So, as you can see, we have got some scran today, which we've been asking for many, many weeks now and months. But so we have to thank them, our hosts and home of the pod tribal. As you know, as we keep banging on, the show host of sport all throughout the week. They've got Hull City on here afterwards. We was watching the rugby in here after the Good Friday derby on Friday. Remember, Ullam Rovers pass orders get 15% off all food and drink orders. So get yourselves down and yeah, come enjoy it. It's a good crack.
Who's paying for this?
You, it's your pod.
It's Susan's pod now. Go on then, Dean. Run us through some comments.
Oh. You don't know what to do with them.
Get it down there, go on.
Before we start on the comments,
What?
Dad told me never to eat my mouthful, sorry.
Eat with
Never eat with your mouth full. How do you eat then?
Talk with my mouth full. It's got me all flustered now. Couple of shout outs. I'm aware we all bumped into many viewers and listeners on the weekend, didn't we? I know Josh had a funny one at the game regarding our man behind the girl behind the camera, but
Yeah, I had loads, to be fair. It was probably one of the games where I've had the most interaction with people.
yeah.
A lot of people spoke to me, not just at the ground. A few people in Soccer Sensations went for a beers. Quite a few people in Apollo pub later on. It just seemed to be a lot of people, especially people I hadn't seen for a long time. There was ex-Lambeth players that came out and said we watched the pod, or just like things like that. There was a few people that I'd bumped into I hadn't seen for a long time. Joe Withers, give him a shout out. There was Nathan, who used to play rugby at Lambeth. Smith Dolan, who said he's an old fan, said he enjoys it and watched it. A lot of great people. There was kind of one in particular that just really, really tickled me. And it was stood queuing for a pant just as the second half was kicking off. And someone turned around to me and just said, "Where's Susan?" And I says like, "Oh, he's watching the game, or he don't drink, he's not come for a pant or whatever." He says, just had a bit of a laugh and joke about it. He said, "Oh, Arno texted him before saying I didn't realise Susan wasn't a woman." And you were saying, "Yeah, what's the chap's name?"
Andy Wilson.
Andy Wilson, great guy, had a great laughing.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Chris, we was missing. He's a guy who I've actually seen around Rovers before. Do you know he's recognisable? And we've probably spoke before, but he actually just got Sky Sports on his phone because we missed about 5 minutes of the second half being in the beer queue. And when I ended up back of the queue because I went to get a selfie with Rufus and Clifford, so I got back anyways. So but he just got his phone out and we watched it on there as well. So just a real nice guy. And honestly, it is just nice when people are just like, we like the pod, it's great, keep it going. Especially when you get comments where I got comments from a couple of Hull fans saying like, we do think you're quite even, we do enjoy listening, we like you lads, you bounce off each other, and you know, they understand this banter that goes a bit over the line sometimes where it's like red and white this, black and white. But yeah, don't stop doing it and just say, like, we take the criticism as well as we take the positivity, and we'd be remiss for me not to say the word remiss, because I know that's a popular one, but we'd be remiss not to mention when we get positive comments as well. So yeah, good time.
Who did you bump into before the game? Someone called Tom, was it?
Yeah, someone called Tom in the beer queue before the game.
It's a weird last name.
Fuck off, Craig. No, so I'd gone to get a beer just before kick-off, turned around, spilling me bloody, what is it, Carlin fruit cider shit all over the place.
Sell ramen now.
Because they fill it right to the top. And I just turned around and there's this kid stood behind me. All right. And I'm like, oh yeah.
He's not as arms I've done now.
And he's just like, I love the pod. I'm like, oh really? I was like genuinely surprised. I was like, really? He went, yeah. I was like, oh, that's great to know, because obviously, like, sometimes, you know, we're all guilty of sometimes like overthinking things and thinking, oh, is that? And we put out a good one this week, kind of thing. And he was like, no, I love it. I work on the road quite a bit, so I know on a Wednesday morning when I start work, it's like, yes, come watch the pod. And I'm like, oh, it's just great to bump into people and just get positive feedback. You know, I'm dreading for the day where I won't bump into someone and they go like, your podcast shit, like, but I've not had it yet. And
I get it all the time.
You obviously don't spend a lot of time with Obbo and his cousin.
I bumped into Obbo's brother after the game in here.
Is it brother or cousin?
His cousin.
Little. Yeah. Well,
Sam. He's called
I
Sam.
don't know, he's about this big.
He always says hi to me, and I still don't know his name. So.
I'm sure it's because I speak to him all the time as well, and I'm sure it's because. But anyways, it is Obbo. I'm certain it's Obbo's cousin, not his brother. I don't think Obbo's got.
I saw him after the game. He didn't say anything about the pod, but he was slagging off FC, obviously.
Of course, yeah, he was in his Rovers gear. I bumped into, not quite in the gents this time, Craig.
In the Q4 because it was a massive queue.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Steve Tinkler, the Masters guy.
Oh yeah.
From, bumped in. He just come up to me, said, "Oh, put a face to a name." Shook my hand, had a quick chat with him. So it was good to catch up with him. There was a couple of guys in here, didn't get the names. I was a bit too far gone by that point.
Come and sat in the corner.
Yeah, so that was an old fan, and then there was a Rovers fan at the bar, so I was having a good catch up with them. There was one guy in here as well, an Australian guy named Willie. Said he's moving back closer to home because he stalls a shithole. Really annoyingly though.
Look how mad he was then. I've never seen that anger. Right, just because you
Really?
didn't complete your
finish,
5K earlier, don't get mad with us.
I never said I did or I didn't. No, went down to the toilets. He held the door up for me. I went, oh, thank you. No, you're welcome, mate. You know when you just want someone to slam the fucking door in your face and just like, there
Just
you
so
go,
you can call him a dick.
Yeah, you want him to be a dickhead.
But he was real nice. Like,
You know what
hated
was
it.
weird in here? Seeing Luke Gale head to toe in red and white.
I can imagine.
I told him it didn't suit him at the bar.
Just weird. He had a cap on and everything. I'm like,
I'm not going to suggest that people always come to Tribal on Good Friday, because obviously the vast majority of players, staff and coaches do come in. They kind of always have with the people that are involved in running this place. But a lot of people, maybe particularly people that are online a lot, would be quite shocked to learn that even the players they hate the most are genuinely nice people. You know,
not the ones we hate the most.
yeah, they are. Even Jake Connor, and I hated him with a passion.
Oh no, yeah, I don't hate Jake Connor though.
Yeah, he's actually an alright bloke when you chat to him. And you know my story on that. There's only one player, and he played for Warrington, who I never got on with, when he threatened to bang me out in Blackpool. But anyways, we won't say anything about Chris Bridges. We'll just move on.
Is that gone off?
We have to, and it pains me to do it, but we have to give a little shout out to the Hull Kingston Rovers Ex-Players Association, who were hosting the Rovers players here. And the
Would
only
you
reason
say you're going to give them a little bit of respect?
I have to give them a little bit of respect because they did give us an Easter egg each.
That is not why what they did was great.
Yeah, it is.
What they did here on Friday, which was reward Bonesy, our tried, tested kit man for all his hard work over the last 30 years. And what they've done is the Ex-Players Association have put their hands in the pocket to help sort out that he can have a grand final winners ring so that he can wear one as well. And there are so many deserving people in our club, but God, if he's not one of the most deserving. And he still owes me a pint from Stage Door in Vegas.
Look,
so.
right, I get that, but it's trivial in grand scheme of things because they gave me and Dean an Easter egg each.
Did you look real sad?
They had the old
we
stuff
looked
on and
in.
thought it was children in
We
need.
looked in the back before they got here, and there was Easter eggs everywhere, and we were like, "Oh, the bastards have got a load of Easter eggs for the players," not knowing it was the Ex-Players Association. And then Amy comes and says hi at one point, and me and Dean are like, "Can we get an Easter egg?"
Easter egg, please.
So she went. She
No, she said
disappeared.
no first.
She disappeared, and she came back. She went, "You've got one each, but you have to give a shout out to the OKR Ex-Players Association." I was like, "Yeah, sorry, I don't care." And then Nick, man,
I got 2 kids.
He's ran it off today.
how much of that chocolate went to your children?
My dad's got them both.
What? I want to give it if anyone was
So I
giving
was
it to
speaking
Dad.
to Amy when I first came in, and she was saying that you was quite lucky to get them eggs, weren't you? Because every time they was
Go
passing
on.
it to Liam Martin, he just kept dropping it, and he just kept smashing eggs because he couldn't keep hold of it.
Lewis Martin.
Yeah, it's funny if you get it right.
Right, a few comments. Gaz
Lewis,
Roberts.
the money man.
Yeah, the man at the money man.
Gaz Roberts. Please don't encourage him. That drink was so annoying last week.
It was very, very.
Icy.
It was just cold. And it wasn't very tasty.
James Wilson dropping the word caveat into his comments. 2 fair points though. Submarine Carl, a bit wider than Mark on that comment. Gary Lee, Rob Parkey, cheers for the comments. The Minecraft man made a good point on Saints beating Leeds 3 times last season. You've got something to bring up on this, haven't you?
No, it's only because I think it's when people do comment, it's only fair that we talk back and have that communication. I think we need to explain what I was talking about last week, only briefly. It was a conversation from Saints' performance last year, and it was an article had been written back in April 2025 around St Helens' embarrassing record versus Super League's top sides just after they'd been beat by Warrington at the start of April last year. And we spoke about, I think I briefly mentioned that they hadn't beaten what was classed as the top 4 teams in 20 ties or something, but I couldn't remember the exact detail. And rightly so, a Minecraft man's come back and said, oh no, they beat Leeds. I had to go and check what the actual point was, and
Was it just league?
it wasn't Leeds,
No.
because Leeds wasn't considered one of the top 4 teams. And so what?
Rovers, Wire, Wigan, and Lee.
Yeah.
It was Wigan, Hull KR and Warrington, and they had 13 straight losses in all competitions against them. If you add Lee in, that took it up to 15, and at the time that was the top 4 in the Super League,
Right.
and that's what was considered the top 4. So Leeds wasn't in that, and that's why.
The top 4 at that point.
Yeah, and it was to do with when they played them. So the article still love rugby league. Shocking, that's where it come from, and it is titled St Helens embarrassing record
Title of
versus
Love Rugby
Super
League,
League.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it was. But thanks for commenting on that.
The last one, Mr. Retro Muzz, probably summed up the derby perfectly. I think he put cracking derby, proper contest, Hull's want and design no longer in question. Rovers' quality was the difference for me, but if Martin's tries given and Asiata stays on, it's a different story.
Ifs
Don't
and
quite
buts.
agree with that, ifs and buts, yeah. In the end, it doesn't matter how you win, just win. Never gets boring beating the old enemy.
Yeah, if my grandma had wheels, she'd be a bike.
All right, Gino.
Does she?
No, she's dead.
All right.
There's no wheels on the coffin.
Just back to the Steve Tinker
No wheels in
mention.
heaven.
So
Yeah.
are your boots dusted off and
I
ready,
told
ready
him
to
there's
go?
no chance. He said, "Oh, you can."
Best thing I ever did was go back playing.
He goes, "You can play with the is it the different shorts or to not get
Different
tackled?"
coloured
I was
shorts,
like,
coloured
shorts,
if I'm
different
doing it, I'm
colours.
doing it properly, and I'm not doing it.
You look good in a gold pair of shorts, Dean, I reckon.
I don't. Oh yeah, we ain't got a game to preview. I don't have to be upset about it.
Do you think that's a good thing for you?
Yeah,
I
no,
do.
it's
Helps
yeah,
with
'cause we need the week off.
injuries. Yeah, helps with recouping for you. So yeah, not bad for you boys.
Much needed. But you guys have.
We have.
I'm just going to dig on us again. I'm hoping for a masterclass by Bamford, because maybe that's what it takes for Cartwright to see that Borough is not the right 9 for us. But
Or did they draw?
York, keep going.
Speaking of players on loan, will the aforementioned Leyland and Desiree be back in our squad, give us a bit of a chance maybe to rest a couple of what we would class as our starting players, maybe slip them on the bench.
Do you know, I've been flip-flopping on this one in my head today, knowing who's going to come record. We will not take York lightly, but we do get a nice long turnaround, you know, going from Good Friday to Saturday. Nice, interesting time, the kick-off at 1:30, you know, middle of the day. And it's on BBC. And on the one hand, they're really struggling, York. An article's come out today saying that they're struggling to name 17 at this point.
They couldn't name 18 on Saturday.
So, and we always thought that, no, they might want to stand a chance, Jimmy. We always said they had a small playing squad anyways, and it was going to be a struggle over the full length of the season. That's coming to fruition probably a bit earlier than they hoped or would have liked. I wouldn't be surprised to see Leyland maybe drop in and maybe be on the bench. I'm not sure about Desiree, but you know, we haven't named the squad yet. We'll see. But we always knew Leyland was good. We signed him for a reason, and obviously the heroics that he put in it, writing himself into the folklore of St Helens fans, you know, was absolutely fantastic at the
Proving
weekend.
that Dryfield's only fast.
He's only quick, isn't he?
If you could read the bounce of a ball, it wouldn't have happened that second one, would it?
If he was fast, they'd have caught him.
And that.
So Dryfield's nothing.
What's he got?
Yeah, I don't really know what's going to happen on that one, but in terms of what I'm looking at the game, I don't think we could do much better than obviously having a win in the derby. We've come away pretty much unscathed for injuries of what we know about so far. We don't know of anything that's gone wrong.
I've not seen anything, heard anything.
We've got disciplinary to get through. Mikey has been pulled up. I don't think he'll get anything.
We have news
for
on
it.
that. The points have just come through. If you want to have a look, Craig, and drop it in when you can.
I will do, yeah.
And then, other than that, I do think that we are finding a bit of momentum. We're going to good form. I can't see, with the fact that being at home, that York are going to trouble us. I know, obviously, eat my words, anything can happen. I know what happened the first game of the season, but given the fact that they're so low on troops, the fact that we're back at Craven Park, I'm not too worried about it. I don't want us to take it lightly, but as we've always said, we're not a team that does that. We really are. You know, we have one-off performances when there's always an excuse that works out. You know, I think we all university agreed that the York defeat in round one was all about one eye on the World Club Challenge, which we went on to win. We had an appalling game in Leeds. We came back and now we won 3 on the bounce since then. You can't worry about stuff like that, and that Rovers are going to be that club that there was 5 years ago where they would turn up with appalling performances. So, yeah, not trying to be too arrogant about it, but I'm not worried about Saturday, really.
No, I mean, me neither. Again, not to take anything away from York, and I don't want it to come across as big-headed, but we should have far too much from them, and especially given the disciplinary, the results have just come out. So Tom Amon got a grade A striking, 1 point, no further action. And then we've got Elliot Minchella. He got a grade B head contact, 3 penalty points, total points 4, which results in a fine. And finally, late hit by Petter Hicker, which was classed as a grade A, 1 penalty point, total points 1.5, no further action. So clean bill of health on the disciplinary front, and I don't think we picked up, I don't recall anybody going off.
I'm just sick of this. It's just the RFL just want Rovers to be at the top, and they never charge them, and you know, they just get away with murder. They've got the grubbiest team going, the tactics are horrendous. He enjoyed it. And yeah, it's just, for me, it's not on when. When are the RFL going to start punishing Rovers like they punish everyone else? It just disgusts me.
So anyway, as I was saying, now Josh has got over his little mini run. Anywho, yeah, just, especially being at home, we've seen what we can do at home. We're sort of carrying on in last season's vein of form when we played St Helens. Obviously the derby is an anomaly. You very rarely get a perfect performance in a derby, if ever. I just think we should have too much for him, if I'm totally honest. And it should be quite a comfortable win.
I think looking at how we played last week and looking at the way that your heart and desire kept you in the game for parts of it, and defensively, you know, for 65 minutes, 60 minutes, she was pretty good, and you know, I felt you hung in there. Like I said before, I still thought our forwards were more powerful and making big yards, but you was doing enough to stop us, you know, and stopping a big score. I think York will be like that, but for a less part of the game. I think they'll tire. I think, you know, struggling with the amount of players that they've got out. I think the points will start to come a bit quicker and maybe come a bit more freely. And so, yeah, I go into the weekend quite positive, and I don't think they'll be able to offer as much as you did. And they also had quite a bad game themselves.
They
against
looked
Huddersfield.
really busted up, didn't they?
And if the points start coming early, yes, they're professional athletes, but do the Reds go down? Does that then open the door for a Rovers-like performance from us, where we look in control? You know, we're putting moves on that we wouldn't normally do. We're using it as sort of, again, not to be discrediting to York, but a bit of a training exercise, putting on moves, maybe trying players. If we get so far in front in different positions, who knows? Who knows how it's going to unfold, but I'm sure Peters will have a plan.
I think the only changes we might make, apart from Leyland Desiree coming back, is Reece Martin might be back fit.
It's been quick.
That's a bit, yeah.
Yeah, Peter spoke about it, and it was originally expected maybe another 3 weeks, if I remember correctly. But there's a chance he could feature. Now we're all the same opinion on this. We don't rush people. We don't need to. You don't want to play rush back. But having said that, if he gets a clean bill of health and he can come back, it's not a bad game to come back into for him. And again, I've eaten my words. I'm sorry about Mikey with his kicking, because across the board, whilst Morgan Reece has been gone, he's been pretty good. He has been pretty good, and he's had some good forms kicking off the tee. But I would like Reece to be back in kicking, so if he is back, it'd be nice to have that.
All right.
Yeah, about it. I can only see a comfortable afternoon for you, but I've said that a few times with teams playing York this year, and they've gone on to surprises, haven't they? So we'll see.
Right, moving on then. So, obviously, we've mentioned in the past we have a different cause that we support in every month. We're now into April, so we have a new one. So we want to take a moment just to tell you about this month's cause, basically. And this one comes from one of our listeners, Dave. It's a bit of a long thing for me to read through. Obviously, it's the first time I'm telling you, but bear with. So back in 2020, during COVID, Dave and his wife welcomed their son, Lucas, into the world. They were told he was healthy, and they were sent home the next day, like most parents. But very quickly, they knew something wasn't right. Lucas wasn't feeding properly and began to turn blue. Even when reassured it was normal, Dave's wife trusted her instincts and pushed for help. After 3 days, they called an ambulance, and Lucas was rushed back to Hull Royal, where doctors worked on him before realising it was his heart. He was transferred to Leeds General and placed on life support. That's where they were told he had hydroplastic left heart syndrome, a rare condition affecting around 1 in 5,000 babies, meaning only half of his heart was working. Due to complications, he also developed sepsis and had to have his foot amputated. At one stage, the family were told to prepare for the worst. They said their goodbyes, but Lucas fought. He began to improve and underwent major surgeries, including the Norwood and the Glen procedures, as doctors started rebuilding his heart step by step. In total, the family spent 113 days in Leeds Hospital. Despite all that, today, Lucas is 5 years old. He's still facing challenges and has more surgeries ahead, but he's here. Unfortunately, he's an OKR fan, and he loves rugby league, but he's an absolute fighter. The care he received in Leeds has been life-changing, and that's why this month we're supporting the Children's Heart Surgery Fund, a charity that helps provide vital support, equipment and care for children like Lucas and their families. So we're going to put a link in the description. We're going to put a link on our socials, and if you look at the bottom of the screen during the podcast, you'll see that there is a QR code that you can scan as well. If you're watching on a TV, you can scan that on your phone if you'd like to donate, and as normal, we'll be putting 50 quid into that fund. So yeah, from us, just a massive respect to Lucas, absolute little warrior.
Proper little fighter.
Right, absolutely.
Well, I think charities like that, it's not rugby related, you know what I mean? It's not directly related to what we talk
did say
about.
It doesn't need to be.
But what that hospital, what that charity have enabled that family to do is to be able to, one, take Lucas to the games and mainly create memories. Like, that kid will grow up, however old he becomes, he will grow up being part of, I'm just going to say Hull, the Hull rugby family, creating memories. What more can you ask for? That's what we do it for, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, that is this month's cause. And now on a lighter note, Craig.
Oh, it's me.
To shine.
Craig's time to shine.
So, on a lighter note, I actually wrote down next week's fixtures thinking that it was this week. Totally forgot about the Challenge Cup. So I've got them
I
wrote
was
down
so
already for
glad
next
when I
week.
figured out it was Challenge Cup because I went on Superbrew earlier today and I was like, oh no, I haven't done my prediction. Oh great, I've got a week.
I only realised when it said April the 16th. It is one I prepared earlier.
You won't forget about the Challenge Cup if we beat York, because then all you'll hear is that Rovers are into another semi-final for however many times in the last 5 years, and
Well,
all they've done is play Loch Lane, a decimated Huddersfield and York.
A decimated York.
Yeah.
I'll leave them to it.
Always taking the
Ruined
easy
by
route.
next week's episode notes now.
You're just predictable, then.
I know. Like this section.
I wish it was. I struggled this week.
I think there was a lot of struggles.
Yeah, one person who didn't struggle. Broggo 78, Danny Broughton, 11 points.
Oh, it was our shirt winner one.
It
wasn't
was, yes, on the Rovers side
That's
of
a
things.
good. 11's good. I think any time you're above 10, I think we all do the same.
double
little
digits
nodding
on
go.
Superbrew.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. You were doing well.
There was a couple who got, excuse me, above. I think there was Red Robin and Lauren got 10.5. So they've had cracking weeks, but narrowly missed out.
I
I'm
didn't
not
have
sure
a
where
good
this
week.
extra half a point has come from, so I couldn't work it out. Cause I can't
You had a
understand
bad
the
week.
I
graphing.
had a bad week.
And speaking of bad weeks, Len Kemp
That's
in the league.
Holly's.
That's Lennon.
That's our cousin Holly's fella.
Ah, well, you had a miserable week, mate.
He's an FC fan as well.
An even more miserable week because you only
He
scored.
had a proper miserable week because
He only scored 2 points.
he was walking into the ground just before us, and Holly went, "They're searching him." I was like, proper sniffer dog searching his wallet everywhere. And she went, "We're not from East Hull." Proper. I went, "Oh yeah, you're from Cottingham, aren't you?" Just went downhill from there.
But I do want to give a special mention. If you listen closely, you'll hear it popping, and that's Jimmy's bubble. How did you do this week, Jimmy?
I don't know.
3 points.
Is that all I got?
That is all you got.
Ah, it's better than 2.
It is, but you're not top anymore, are you? You're sliding down now.
It's a long season. It's a long.
As I found out last year.
Yeah, as long as I don't finish bottom, I don't care.
That's why I'm not mentioning the fact that Josh is like 4 points behind us all.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
But yeah, that's it. There's no predictions. It's only
I'm not
Challenge
bothered
Cup.
about finishing. The only benefit of finishing top is I get to bully whoever finishes bottom. I just don't want to finish bottom again.
That's it. Just not finishing bottom.
That's it, innit?
That's the goal for me.
aim.
Yeah.
No
And the
matter
thing
if you
is,
win,
be
He was so far behind last year and then went on to win it, so it's...
he'll start taking it seriously with about 7 rounds to go.
I just like to give you all a chance.
Yeah, that's what it is, yeah.
Right now, I mess around. I'm like, I might back Hull, you know. I just laughed, you know what I mean? I'm like, you two, you're back till this week. That's why you're losing points, boys. Stop making silly decisions.
You can't not.
Are we doing predictions just for a laugh? There's only 4 games.
I don't know all the fixtures because I ain't got them wrote down, but our game, Rovers by 18.
Yeah, I actually think we might.
While you're gassing.
I'm looking at the. I'm trying to stall so you can get them up, Craig. Looking at whoever. I think Rovers might win by a bit more than that. I think I'm going to say Rovers by 24.
Rovers by 20.
Oh, I'm probably going to go higher than that, like 34.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be I think you're going to run them over.
Yeah, that's the way it looks. It could be wrong. But
It's not
I've
going to
got
be
that
nice
feeling.
to watch for the York fans, I don't think.
No, maybe not. But we've been wrong before. This could be a 1-0.
We've doubted York all season in every game.
Apart from me, I backed them against Huddersfield.
Yeah, so did I.
And I backed them the week before, and they've lost both.
Yeah.
So.
All right then. So first game of the weekend, Friday, Saints at home to
I've got
Catalan.
one now.
Well, I'm
Saints.
reading them out.
No, it's Mark.
It's his
Craig
podcast,
section.
don't you know?
Shut
Yes,
up.
can you just
Read
get
it
it
out.
done,
Saints Catalan.
Saints Catalan at the Brewdog.
Saints.
Yeah, I can't see anything else.
Catalan.
Saints are going to struggle. They're
Yeah.
going to be without legend Leyland. Because we have recalled them, because the reason why I've recalled them is we don't want them to be cupped hard.
Which makes sense.
Which we agreed before it happened. Before Leyland and Desiree even got minutes, it was pre-agreed in the week's
Do you reckon
loan.
they're going back the week after then?
I think they may be. Obviously, we'll wait and see what comes out if we get injuries or whatever. Playing against you. But
Oh, God.
I'm a bit torn on this one. I'll tell you what I will do. I'll go Saints by 8.
Catalan by 4.
Saints by 12.
I was going to say it's by 10.
Okie
These are all off the cuff, by the way. We've not.
I've not written out
I didn't
Yeah.
even know the fixtures, so...
Warrington versus Lee.
Hang on. Susan's. Susan's got Saints by 10 and he's got Rovers by 16.
I forgot he was here because he turned up late.
Well, Warrington against Lee. There's only one winner here, isn't there? Even with some of the star players missing last week, they still demolished them. Like, I think they had 4 or 5, maybe what you class as starters missing, and they still absolutely demolished Lee. So I'm going to go for it again. I'm going to go Warrington by 28.
Warrington, but I still sort of have a bit of faith in Lee. We don't know what's going on there. I think many people tip them to be like top 1 or 2 at the end of the year, and there were a lot of reasons. They've had injuries, and there is obviously a bit behind the scenes going on. It doesn't seem to be fitting well, but Lamb's a smart coach, and you do learn things by playing a team 2 weeks in a row. I'm hoping it'll be competitive, so it's a good watch. I think Warrington by 16.
Warrington 10.
Because he said 10, I'll say 12, just so we're not matching.
So
But I was going to say 10. I can't see him running away with it like they did last week. Lee will be...
I think Lee will have a bit more about him this week.
They'll have a bit of bite because they'll want to get back.
On another note, Swansea just received the second penalty of the first half. Just saying. Yeah. And finally, Wakefield, Wigan. Again, not sure where, because Susan's not sent them.
It's at Wakey, that.
It's at
At
Wakey.
Wakefield. I genuinely don't know.
Go on, go for it.
What?
Just do it.
Wakey 10.
I fancy Wakey for this. Wakey by 7.
4.
I'm going to go Wigan by 8 then.
Just to be different.
Yeah. Why
I
not?
also missed Susan out with these last 2. He's got Warrington to beat Lee by 20 and Wakefield to beat Wigan by 6.
Nice.
Fair enough. I think we're done. I hope we're done. I've got 10 minutes to get home and pick Rach up for the football.
Okay, well,
Drag it out, Josh.
I just wanted to take
Longest out
just a
ever.
brief 20, 30 minutes of your time to talk about. No, we will be closing up now, so obviously, short turnaround, coming around to get this out for you. But as always, before we finish up, we do want to say thank you, as always, to Tribal for housing us and providing drinks. And for the first time ever, as you've seen and hopefully not heard through the mics, some cracking food. Not saying it'll be every week, but we
tried
will.
turning people's mics off as they were
I've
eating.
been picking, so you've had no chance.
But now, when we are recommending that you come in for the vibes and come in for the drinks and come in to get your discount and watch the sport, we can now truly recommend the food as well. Not that we haven't eaten here before, but yeah, really
Different
good food.
menu than last time
New
we ate
menu,
one,
yeah. So thank you to them. Thank you as always to our number 1 sponsor, Comscaff. Always much appreciated for them as well. For you guys that watch and listen, same message as always. However you listen, make sure you give us a like, make sure you're subscribing. But particularly if you do watch us on YouTube, like, subscribe, so you get that video straight into your inbox on top of your homepage, but also hype the video. It's easier to do on the mobile app than it is on the desktop and the TV, but it is still possible, but it does help us. And, you know, as always, we just appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate the feedback in the comments, whether it's in person, whether it's on YouTube, and that's why we're committed to talking for them. So let us know your thoughts, let us know your feelings, and yeah, let's keep it going.
You keep watching, we'll keep recording.
It's the one, brother. So I'll be the first to say then, see you bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.